I gotta be honest. We got to do something about that intro.
Get a new one.
I'm, I'm not digging it. We got to do something with the music or something. I'm not liking
I
it.
know it's like nap time in kindergarten.
Right. So anyway, welcome back. Chad and I are back. We got a little bit of an echo there, but that resurfaces sometimes, I guess, when we actually do it live. And that's okay. So here we are with the art of AI. It is Techo Tuesday. That's a pretty bad echo. What are we doing?
I don't know. Turn game.
What do we? Yeah, I can still. All right, we're gonna keep pressing on. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. The problem is I can hear me. That's good though. That's fine. That seems like it's working okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine. So I've been wanting to talk about this for at least a couple of weeks now. And you brought it up, and it's kind of been a thing. I've heard from people. Our managed clients haven't really had to deal with it. Our unmanaged clients, the ones who are kind of in WooSender doing things themselves, they are having a hard time. And so I've been doing some consulting with them to kind of help them out. But I figured it'd be a good idea for us to not only start going live again, but to actually go live about this specific thing, because some people are having a hard time with it. And I think that our insights here can help. Specifically, I'm talking about message delivery issues and actually getting your WooSender account banned because of message delivery. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, so my thoughts are, it all comes down to your list, and making sure that the your leads are clean, that you're going to SMS capable. Sorry, that's gonna drive me nuts. Hold on. SMS capable phones, right? Not landlines or anything else like that.
Right.
So, um, anyways, that's
So there's a few tools that are actually built into WooSender that can help you. And so not only just the tools, but it's how you use them, right? And so what I'd like to do is just kind of show people how they can improve their message delivery rates without changing much in the way of what they're doing. And to do that, I'm going to share my screen here and just kind of show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this is WooSender. This is inside of one of our accounts that we use specifically for cold outreach, actually. So this is looking at the number of SMS messages that we sent over the past 7 days. So we've got a 97.96% success rate with a 2.04% error rate. So 11 messages that were attempted to send, but were not able to send because it was just undeliverable to that number. So if you look at this little tooltip here, it reads that messages are sent to contacts that are either no longer available, unreachable, or using a non-SMS capable device, such as a landline. An acceptable error rate would be between 0 and 8%. And that's important that they say that an acceptable error rate would be between 0 and 8%, because if your error rate goes over 12.5%, they will suspend your account for the day. And if that happens 3 times in any given 7-day period, they will permanently lock your WooSender account. And we've had some people who've dealt with that. We've stepped in and of course, leveraged our relationship with WooSender in order to try to help out and get some of those accounts unlocked. But I wanted to talk about what we're doing to not only help our managed clients stay on the right side of message delivery rates, but what you can do in your own WooSender account to make sure that you're not getting locked and blocked. So the first thing is a feature that's actually built into WooSender, and it's called a validator. If you look here, I have it up on this tab. You can find this same exact screen by going up here to your little settings button. And then under settings, you scroll down right here to account profile. And if you scroll right here, you can see that it's on this particular account, but right here under validator for phone number, it costs 5/100th of a cent per number to check. And I'm going to explain a little bit about exactly how that works, because it's not exactly clear what actually happens here. But you want to turn that on. First, because it's just going to give you it's the cheapest way for you to have some insight into whether or not the numbers you're reaching out to are good numbers, right? Okay, so we're going to allow WooSender to validate contact phone numbers. Now, this is something that happens when the number is actually uploaded. Okay, when the number is uploaded in your database, it checks and verifies what's happening here. I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like when I switch to this contacts tab, where you can actually see these are, and I have the email addresses hidden because those were actually valid, but these are numbers that we uploaded doing our cold outreach here. That you see these little bubbles here that are red and either have an L, an M, a U, or a V in them. They're red because we discovered that those numbers were no longer valid, right? Of course, landlines, we should not be sending text messages to landlines at all. So if you upload a list and it's got landlines in it, do not put that into a campaign where it's going to be sending text messages. That's the first one. If it's obviously it's a landline, don't even attempt to send a text message to it, because the carriers see that. And WooSender is locking your account to protect you from being blacklisted by the carriers. Now, when you initially upload this, there's not going to be any color associated with it at all. These are just going to be black, and they'll have the letter for what type of number it is. It'll have an L for landline. It'll have an M for mobile numbers. It'll have a U if it's unknown, or a V if it's voice over IP. Now, until last week, it was our practice to eliminate the unknown numbers and, of course, the landline numbers from any of our cold outreach. What started happening, though, is because more and more voice over IP numbers are inside of these businesses that we're reaching out to, we assumed that they were capable of receiving text messages, which from a technical perspective, they are. But oftentimes, if they don't have that on in their account, it'll just reject the text message. So then what do the carriers assume? The carriers assume that you are trying to send text messages to landlines because they just can't receive the messages. And that counts against your deliverability metrics. And again, if that goes over 12.5%, you're going to get your account locked. So to avoid that, what we're doing internally and what I'm advising all of our non-managed account holders to do is to eliminate everything but the mobile numbers from your database. That means that if it's a landline, unknown, or voice over IP, you're not putting them in text message campaigns. Those are people that can go into your email campaigns. You can actually dial them directly and try to get a hold of them that way. But as far as automating campaigns and having them go out to those numbers, we are advising against it completely. And that's 100% because as soon as this number goes over 12.5%, if you sent over 100 messages in that day, it'll lock your account from all automations, and that they won't lift that or anything.
Now, isn't it? It's not just that if you sent 100, if you hit 25, right, and you haven't sent 100 yet today, they're going to assume you're going to hit 100 and be. So it's not just it's out of 100, but if you send 25 and they're all, you hit 25 aired outreaches at the beginning of the day, you'll get locked, right? Even though
they're not going to give you the opportunity to get that. Now, they don't typically do it until you hit 100. That's like they at least try to give you that grace period,
right,
of 100 messages. But if you send 25 in a row that are undeliverable, you should be stopping yourself. Like you shouldn't be using this to check and see if the numbers. And it's an unfortunate thing with the WooSender validator is it doesn't actually know if a number is capable of receiving text messages until it attempts to send the text message.
Right.
So if you look at these contacts again, some of these have M's on them. So you see Brett Langford here with the red M. That didn't turn red until there was an attempt to send Brett a text message. And then when that was rejected, now it knows that it can't receive those text messages. But unfortunately, that counted against our deliverability for that day. Does that kind of make sense?
Yep.
So there are some other ways that you can help with your numbers. One of the things that we've discovered is that being a little bit less verbose in your text messages and instead spreading longer messages over a number of text messages can certainly help with that. For example, if you, instead of sending one long text message, if you could break that up into a conversational 4 text messages, well, now you've sent 4 text messages successfully, right? Before you got an error that potentially could happen. Whereas if you just sent that one long text message and you got an error, now half of your messages are errored. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like just kind of breaking it up like that.
The other thing that's really critical too is using the validation campaigns, right? Um, the idea of the validation campaign, it basically connects, okay, yeah, you are the person that I think you are in my data set, as well as this number is able to receive texts, right? So you send out a few in that process. What you don't want to do is, well, I hope these guys are, let's just dump them in the offer campaign, right? Um, the the reason being is that the math works out, right? You know that once they validated, they say who they are, and this is the number. So now all those texts are also going to go to that number, right? So anybody who passes validation will help keep your numbers low. And now it's more like you have to do like warming up a domain for email outreach. Now you kind of have to warm up your campaigns so that as you're going through, you're dropping a few validated mobile numbers, and then add more and more every day until you get up to however many you want to drop in a day. Because every day that goes by, those that validated are going to have their text sent out, which adds to your total for the day. They're going to work because they've already validated. And then you can drop more leads and keep below that 12%, right? Because that's the hard part with that 100 text or 100 contact or texts limit, is you can easily drop 25 leads and just happen to grab bad batch of 25 leads. So
You just get unlucky.
yeah,
We've had that happen internally and have had to deal with it. And
there's
we've
just
had
not much you
very
can do.
long conversations, and there's nothing that WooSender will do
Right.
to unlock you for the day. You're not going to automate any more of your messaging through that system at that point. So what Chad is saying is super important there. It only blocks your ability to automate messages though. You can still, and I had this happen to our own account, one of our accounts last week, where we just got unlucky, right? And a number of the messages that we were sending, it spiked to like 20% before coming down to like 12.86%, right? And right when it crossed that threshold of 100 messages, they locked it. So we have people who validated, and it literally blocked those messages going out, where if those would have sent, it would have brought us down below that 12.5% threshold. But when it automates that blocking and you're locked out for the day, you are indeed locked out for the day. You should take that time to, at the very least, go back over your list. And I think maybe on another broadcast, Chad, we can talk about some of the tools that are available out there outside of WooSender that we use and that we can advise people to use to actually scrub their list before it goes into this system. That way you're kind of double protected there. You're going to check it before it goes in, and then you look at it again here before you start dropping them into the automation campaigns.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's it. I just wanted to talk about this because it is kind of an issue. We've been dealing with some people who have had this happen. I've talked to 2 people this week. It's Tuesday. I've talked to 2 people this week so far who have had their accounts completely locked. One of them I was able to, I guess, use some influence or whatever, just contact somebody at WooSender to get that permanent ban lifted from that particular account. The other one they did not want to do because that one was like just egregious with their stuff, and I wasn't really too into getting them unlocked anyway. But that's it. If you have any questions for Chatter Eye, there's a QR code on the screen. You can book a call with us where we do a quick assessment of what it is that you're trying to automate in your business. We might be able to help. We might be able to offer you some guidance. Chad, any parting words?
No.
All right.
Nothing. No quips coming to mind. Nothing.
No
funny.
quips from Chad today.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
The train's running low on coal right now, I think.
I got you. Well, Chad's going to get something to eat. I've got meetings to get to, and we'll see you next time.